What's up, everybody? Well, today I thought I'd go and introduce another vacuum in my collection. This time it is of the first generation series Kirby. Here I have for you a Kirby Generation 3, or G3 for short. And the backstory for how I got this, I bought this off eBay for only $60. $60. That's quite a steal for a Kirby. And turns out the reason they were selling it for that cheap is because they couldn't get the brush roll to spin. But believe it or not, this had a brand new belt put in, and they still couldn't get it to spin. But I started diving into it the day I got it, and the first thing I noticed was, first off, the headlight didn't work, which now I have that replaced. But the main reason why the brush roll wouldn't spin is because they didn't have it wrapped around the belt lifter properly, so it couldn't rest the belt on the shaft properly. So I eventually corrected that problem by looping the belt around the belt lifter, and then vacuum instantly fixed and working just like fine. It just needs to be cleaned up a little bit, and it definitely could use a polish because the metal is incredibly oxidized. But there were a little bit of other miscellaneous things fixed here and there. One, obviously the headlight. The mini Emptor is another thing that needed to be replaced. This is the newer style Ultimate G mini Emptor. This is the design that they've had on Kirby since the G6. When they had this design out, this you can tell is an Ultimate G because the light gray color scheme doesn't really match on the white scheme, but it's more cosmetically agreeable than the black Emptor would. And I tried as hard as I could to try and keep the original outer bag with the Generation 3 logo on the front, because the replacements that Kirby offers now just doesn't have the Generation 3 lettering. So, unfortunately, I lost a bit of originality, but I do have modern performance out of this. Another thing I had to fix I had to replace when I got it is one of the wheel hubcaps. As you can see, this is another Ultimate G piece. And as you can see, this hubcap is actually the original. I kept this hubcap. Well, I mainly wanted to put it on its good side, since this is the side that's mostly exposed, and the Ultimate G hubcap over here just to kind of clean it up so it looks a little bit nicer. But I put it on the side where the Emptor and the outer bag is, so it doesn't get exposed as often as the original G3 cap. As you can see, the rear drive wheels are also brand new. And I tried to make sure they were the original gray wheels and they weren't black on the inside, just to try and keep this aesthetically correct as I could. Oh, and another thing I had issue with when it got, the transmission was actually jammed into neutral. It wouldn't go forwards, it wouldn't go back. So I took it all apart, greased the drive mechanism, and lo and behold, this thing works just perfectly. Took a bit of adjusting so it isn't as jumpy, and now it works just as good, if not like it's brand new. And this is its all original tech drive. As you can see, the cord definitely looks a bit disgusting because it gets this weird discoloration over time where the cord seems to turn kind of mossy green color. That doesn't really bother me that much, and I don't feel the need to replace it because the cord does not have exposed wires, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And right here is the brush roll performance indicator, this green light. In the older days of the Generation series, they had it actually on the left instead of onto the right. For some Kirby owners, they were complaining about it not being able to edge clean that good because the light is over here as compared to over on the bag side, because it's hard to edge clean with this gigantic outer bag in place. So I think later on when they went up to at least the G5, Kirby moved the brush roll performance indicator from the left to the right. So let's go ahead and lift this headlight up. Right here is how your belt lifter works. Just simply twist this guy around and pull this little tab, and the head lifts forward and lifts right off. This does have the upgraded white plastic fan. Does have a bit of mileage on it. So here's how your brush roll looks. This is the original chevron style brush roll, and right inside there is where the belt lifter is in place. Right here is actually a 2-speed switch. The one speed is for the vacuum to run on low speed, and then another is for high speed when you're using your hose and attachments. Now the reason why you have your vacuum head on, the vacuum is in low speed, so the airflow and suction of the vacuum is reduced slightly, so you can easily push and pull the vacuum, so it's not overly unbearable to use. The reason why the Kirby put that there is to make up for lost suction when using your tools. As many people know, direct air vacuums are known to produce more airflow than they are suction. So let's go ahead and turn this guy on its side to give you a better look at the brush roll. It is a chevron style. As you can see, it funnels everything into the center suction path. Get this little piece of string out of the brush. Here's the model number. Kirby Generation 3 G3D. This vacuum actually has, from what I read, it's a 7-amp motor. You can see the underside looks a little bit ratted out. This was heavily used back then, so I don't expect this thing to look perfect, but it still runs just fine either way. Right back here you have your power switch and your switch for your self-propelled. As you can see, this is actually a one-piece switch. It's not the new style. We'll see where this can actually lift up, where the neutral side can actually lift up, and it'll only go in drive when you just hit the up side of the drive selector, which, see, you could easily put it into drive by lifting up on the neutral, which Kirby did that mainly as a safety switch, or as a safety concern. And see, right here is your handle lock. As you can see, this is actually the one where you actually have to pull back to lock the handle into place. It's not like the later models. I think they introduced it on the G4 up on the front, where you have to slide it left or right to decide whether you want it to go back only so far to allow transport over floor thresholds. And if you push it all the way in, it'll lie completely flat, which I like to leave it lying completely flat. That way it gets under most furniture. However, it won't get under most furniture because the motor is such a high profile, but I digress. As you can see, it does have a release handle right here, so you can turn this into a hand vac, which I'll show that later in the video. Back here is your little handle screw right here. This right up here is actually a spot for change. You could actually slide this down here and then pick up your change down here so you don't run over it with the vacuum and potentially damage the fan by sucking up something metal. But anyway, also you have a tab up here to release your outer bag. And speaking of bag, we'll go ahead and show you that right here. You do have the newer style Kirby Micro Magic HEPA bags. When I bought the new M-Tour, it did come with a brand new fill tube in its process. So, and even a new fill neck as well. So you can run modern Kirby HEPA bags in these older G3s, G4s, G5s. But anyway, I've pretty much gone over as much of the vacuum as I can. So for now, let's go ahead and release the cord. Alright, and we'll go ahead and plug it in. And we'll go ahead and turn this thing on and demo it for you guys so you can hear just how smoothly this thing runs. Power switch right down here at your foot. Adjust the carpet pile. Turn the self-propel on. Surprisingly, the self-propelled is, for being an all-original transmission, is surprisingly quiet. I mean, I would expect this thing to be a lot louder, because normally they are when they age. And there's a little faint bit of grinding. barely makes it underneath there because of the big fill tube that's in the way. As you can see, this thing runs exceptionally smooth for being an old beater. And before I let you guys go, let's go ahead and show you this thing in tool mode. So we'll go ahead and take the cleaner head off. And we'll go ahead and attach the hose right here. As you can see, when you put the hose on, it depresses the upper portion of the switch, which allows the motor to run at full speed to make up for lost suction that it might have made. So here it is running in hose mode. Has pretty respectable suction for a direct air, but it's still not the best. You gotta give it a break because it's direct air. But anyway, as you can see, most of the attachments I have right here, I borrowed from my Diamond Edition for the sake of the video, because that's all I got. I don't have the period correct G3 attachments. But anyway, here's most of the tools you get right here. Or here's a special attachment you can put at the end with a suction relief. You have your double extension wands you can attach. I'm not too sure why they're curved, they're cut at an angle at the end. I'm sure there's a reason for it, but I don't know honestly what Kirby was thinking when they did this. You have your bare floor tool that you can attach at the end, and then use it mostly for your bare floors. Surprisingly, it does okay on carpets. I thought it'd be overly difficult to push. So right here is your crevice tool. All right, here you got your little upholstery, or excuse me, dusting brush. You have your small upholstery tool. You even have a much wider area upholstery tool. This is for cleaning higher traffic areas, especially things like carpeted stairs. But I think Kirby mostly meant to have this to be for cleaning your bed mattress. Right here is a special attachment you can put at the end to clean and groom your pet, provided they don't get scared and run away. And the final piece of the attachment I'd like to show you is the zip brush. That's how it works. It's kind of like a pet hair turbo tool on most department store vacuums. Shut it down, and just look how long this thing takes to spin down. Again, detach the hose. But anyway, this is just how great this zip brush is designed. I've never seen anything take that long just to spin down. So I think that was well engineered. Now this is actually something I'll show you in just a second after I put the head back on. So just reattach that. Put the locking lever, belt lifter back up. I'll just turn it on to show you that, just to test if it still works just fine. But what this is for is so when you remove your cord out of the little holder sockets, if I can, see right there, detach your bag from the handle and the handle from the base. That removes away, and you could attach this and put it in place of your handle, then move your bag hook towards the back. Now you can actually use this as a portable hand vacuum. However, you will need quite a bit of strength to move this up and down the stairs. So if you ask me, I believe this tool is very impractical, especially for something that's incredibly heavy as this. I know Kirby wanted to make this as an all-in-one machine, but you gotta keep in mind, this thing is incredibly heavy, which is the one major downfall to these vacuums. They're good all-around performers, but their weight is really the thing that gets a lot of hate. So if you don't have that much stairs, or don't have really the strength to carry this big monster up and down the stairs, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you have a single floor with mostly carpeting and stuff, I would definitely recommend one of these for that. So I hope you've enjoyed this in-depth video of the Kirby Generation 3. Be sure and stay tuned. Don't forget to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.